Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where to be. I wouldn't know where to begin.
But I'm curious, I want to talk more about sort of origin stories and like how place has been important as well. So maybe that's a good place to start, like when you think about getting started as a person or getting started as a writer, as a poet, or thinking of yourself in that way, or just like where does that come from? Either like a physical place or a mental place, or
Yeah.
curious.
It's funny. So Mr. Morse, Michael Morse, was my first poetry teacher. I think he's the first person who like had me, I think, actively. I mean, he was the first. He introduced me to like the first collections that I actually like read and spent time with as a student. But I don't. But I wouldn't say that that was the beginning. It's weird because I feel like, for the most part, my experience studying poetry has pulled me further and farther away from what it was that originally brought me to the craft. And that's been something that I've like struggled with for, I like it, that, yeah, I've struggled with that sort of. I guess what I mean is, when I was really young, I lost somebody who I was very close to. She was 20 years old and I was 13, and she was a poet. She was a poet. And I believe Michael actually knew her as well because we went to the same high school. And she just got sick and passed away. So for years, I mean, I really struggled with her passing. And it was only long after she had been gone that, I don't know, I felt like her gift of poetry was passed on to me or something. Like when I would think about my relationship to her after she had died, I think that's that's the space that poetry first emerged from, or something, in my life. I think that that's where it originally, that's where the original spark comes from. Because for the longest time I felt like the only way to sort of conjure her back was through language, or was through like, not even through language, but through sort of investigating the space where language fails me. So that's where the poetry comes in. You know, I felt like she wrote about her experience in getting sick, and, you know, the physical trauma of all of that. And seeing that she was using poetry to sort of express herself, or express her struggle, her pain, her physical pain, was, it was real. It was really real. It was really, really real. It was real. It was very difficult. But I don't know, it instructed me in, I don't know, in this way. I don't know. So that's where it all comes from. You know, sort of attempt at, originally it was like this attempt at trying to like figure out where she, like, what, or to like carve a liminal space where language fails, using the best, like, using whatever language I had in my repertoire, like whatever I could possibly construct. And it sort of expanded from there. So it was never really like it wasn't never, I mean, it wasn't cathartic. It wasn't like this cathartic experience, because it never felt good. It never felt like I was trying to sort of like arrive at this sense of peace or tranquility. It was always this, or understanding. It was more just like feeling completely bewildered in this space of trying to bring back the memory of somebody. So that's where it comes from. That's where it started.